And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, and over 80 other categories of consumer advocate content. We're helping you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Pull out your smartphone, save our consumer advocate hotline number in your phone. It's 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. Don't forget our number. Bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. That's our website. Plethora of information. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the entire Gulf Coast region of Florida that we've assembled, we've vetted, and we bring on the air to help you win no matter what you're facing. We're making you more street smart here with the Consumer Quarterback Show. We don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder, if you throw a ladder in your truck, this show's for you. This segment is brought to you by Kipton's The Hotel Zamora on beautiful St. Pete Beach, our official hotel partner. And I love to go down there and spend time on the weekends at the Hotel Zamora. Spanish ancestry meets cool Mediterranean attitude. It's a whitewashed Mediterranean palace with expansive luxury suites with balconies overlooking the Intercoastal Waterway. Rooftop yoga on the weekends. By the way, voted number 3 rooftop on the entire eastern continental of the United States of America here. Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora in St. Pete Beach. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you, and you're going to get a 15 to 20% discount off of your stay. All right, let's go around the horn now, make our introductions. Back in studio, Abraham Moussa, president of Total Title Solutions. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. I'm honored to be on the show.
Absolutely. What do you want to talk about today?
Whatever you guys want to talk about. But there was one particular deal that I would like to mention, that this is why we promote to hire a professional to help you with your real estate transaction.
That's right. Yeah, we've had some hot stuff lately too. You know, neighbors contending sales.
That's
and
the
all
one I want to talk to you about. It's actually, if you did not have the real estate agents with you, that deal would have gone sour.
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely going to help you win in any marketplace, especially in real estate transaction. Also, the mortgage maverick, Curt Lorden. He's the branch manager of InterLinc Mortgage Services. Welcome in, sir.
B-Money, you're looking sharp today.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. I'm down 12 pounds, man.
Dude, good job.
Listen, I hit 40, and I'm like, you know what? I got to start eating right and working out. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the Fed and an interesting statistic about today's mortgages nationwide that can be kind of eye-opening to some people.
Interesting. Yeah, we got to definitely let them know what's happening out there. Help them avoid all this commission-based advice, the commission breath that's so prevalent in our community, and helping you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show: educate, enlighten, engage. And we've got a hot listing here. Compliments of Mary Cuffle with Platinum MVP Realty. Beautiful property here at 900 Raphael Boulevard, Northeast St. Petersburg. This just hit the market a handful of days ago. 3-bedroom, 3-bath property, $450,000. Great buying opportunity, as well as personal listing of mine here at 7814 Sims Road in Gibsonton. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath property, over 3,400 square feet, heated, and you've got $449,000 price tag here. Pool home, beautiful property. Now, the kicker here is it's over 4.5 acres, and on the left-hand side, you've got a commercial asset that's rented out, generating $2,000 a month. So where else can you buy a home that practically pays for itself with the income generated from a commercial asset, plus 4.5 acres to continue to do other business practices? Of course, no HOA there. And you've got 7814 Sims Road in Gibsonton. Beautiful property here. Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. Want to remind you as well, we have an awesome event coming up Friday, April 21st, right here at iHeartRadio. We're doing a digital marketing and business growth seminar. We're going to help you win in online, helping you rank online. Also, it's right here at iHeart now. It's a free event, but you've got to register. You've got to RSVP. So go to our website, consumerqb.com, submit the form. The email form is going to come directly to me. We're going to make sure we get with Deborah. We're going to save you a seat for this event. We also have a business coach, Patrick Leese, Action Coach is going to be giving some great content as well about business growth and success, and also mastering the persuasion and influence, and how to win online. And then at 5:30, we're taking it over to Hula Bay for a happy hour over at our official restaurant partner, Hula Bay, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, guys. I've got Abraham Moussa here in the house, and also Curt Lorden co-hosting today. And we are expecting a call in from Robert Burmaster. He's the owner of Graphics Edge as well. Going to be probably around segment 3 here. But let's start right here, Abraham. What's going on, man?
There is a lot going on. One thing I do I agree that the market is hot and everything is buying and selling, and there's lack of inventory, which is, you guys know about this. In speaking of that, this is where the time where most people now want to sell their own homes on their own terms, because they feel that, okay, the market is hot, I don't need anybody to sell my house. It's easy to do so.
Good point.
Which is, I do agree, it is easy. But everything else goes behind the scene. It's not that easy. Yeah. And when you're buying or selling an investment of your lifetime, or most people, it is the biggest investment of their lifetime. I don't think you should be here a penny wise in this case. You should not be penny wise and dollar foolish here. So we had a case recently that the property is for sale, a vacant land. It's for sale. It's awesome. The people have the right to sell it. Well, the neighbor sent a letter to the new buyer and says, no, they don't have the right to basically sell it, and they complicated the matter. Yep. Now, people got involved. If it wasn't for the real estate agent that they brought in an attorney to consult for the buyers, and our in-house title attorney has to consult for that stuff, and it goes back and forth about it. And if we didn't have a grip on it, the deal would have gone sour, and then the neighbor is liable. There's liquidated damages there for the buyer. So before you try to create fuss or create trouble for somebody or any way, form, of shape, please check if you have the right to do so. And besides, we're a property state. If we own a property, we have the right to buy it and sell it. Right. But these people did cloud the sale. So again, please hire the professionals. If this was being done on their own, it would not have closed. Right. I promise you that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there would be issues that happen. There's things that come up, and people try to do the old for sale by owner thing, and it's there's so much to the transaction. You think about security, that's number one that comes to my mind. You put that for sale by owner sign in the yard, you got people coming up looking through the windows at all time at night, wondering if it's vacant or not.
Yep. Here's another scenario, and I'll get off that one. Again, for sale by owner, 2 gentlemen walked into our office today, and this happened literally today. I spent 2 hours with it. And they want to buy and sell their property. Awesome, we'll do the transaction. Well, come to find out, the seller is a foreign person. He's a Canadian. Well, that complicated matters furthermore. Now, do understand, this is what people don't understand, is the seller has no responsibility. Once they sell and move back to Canada, they move back to Canada. But the buyer have a liability for that taxes if you don't do the proper paperwork.
Right.
And they have no idea what they were talking about. Yep. And furthermore, they argue the fact, why do we have to do that? It's like, well, it's the law.
Because you're supposed to.
Yeah, it's really true. Well, why do I have to pay it? I'm the buyer. Well, you don't have to pay it. You have to collect it. So please, I'm telling you guys, whoever the listeners out there, please take a minute and hire a professional to do the work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Abraham Moussa, President, Total Title Solutions, also has an awesome restaurant here in town as well, over Clearwater, actually, Abe's Place. And Curt Lorden, reaction.
Well, Abe's absolutely right. I mean, there's so many, intricacies with a real estate transaction, and you want to make sure that you're protected as a buyer and also a seller. I mean, let's be real. There is a small segment of people that can sell their house for sale by owner. It's the reason why LegalZoom exists, and you can do a simplified divorce, but that's such a small segment. Right. And unless you are seasoned and you know exactly what you're doing, you should hire a professional. It's going to end up saving you thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars versus paying, the 3% commission of, what the listing agent's gonna require to list your house or whatnot. So yeah, better be safe than sorry, because it is your largest single financial investment.
Yeah, don't be penny wise and dollar foolish. Really, that is.
I like that saying. I'm going to steal it from you if that's okay.
I didn't make it. All
right. Well, then I'll just borrow it from you.
That's fine. And same thing. I mean, when they do that on their own, they call it lender or what have you. If there is a person in the middle, they can help them a lot.
Yeah.
Like suggesting the adjustable interest rate. Everybody's turned off by it, but sometimes it's a good deal.
Well, we actually talked about it last week, that it's the ARMs are now, the adjustable rate mortgages they make up almost 10% of what mortgages are right now because they're starting to creep back up. And I got with my capital markets department earlier this week and talked about an ARM strategy for going, for down the road, because it is going to be a huge portion of the mortgage business. I mean, I have an ARM in my house right now. It's a 5/1 ARM.
It works.
Yeah, it does. If you have a fiduciary in your back pocket that's going to walk you through it from day one until you're in a position to refinance.
Especially in a rising interest rate environment, it makes a lot of sense if you're short-term hold policy. We'll come back when we talk about that. Let's dive deeper into that. Let's look at real estate trends. I want to talk to two of the best in the Tampa Bay market here on what's happening in real estate, where are the trends going, what's happening in finance, what's happening in title, and also big shout out to the Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. 24-hour, 100% satisfaction guaranteed by the Maids Cleaning Service. They are referred for a reason. So more from our expert contributors. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Jarek Robbins, you are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Don't forget, Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Visit realestateradiotampa.com or text the word VALUE to their consumer advocacy hotline at 813-917-1894. Call Brandon today, 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. Our hotline is 670-7372. New hotline number for you, 813-670-7372. That's REQB. Give us a call, comments, text us if you want, 670-7372. This segment is brought to you by Felicia Lacaille and Healthy Gourmet. She's the founder of Healthy Gourmet. It's an awesome delivery service, and they provide me awesome meals. I want to tell you this food is excellent. Organic veggies, natural proteins, delivered fresh 3 times a week. Meal plan starting at only $90. Optimal fuel, optimal performance. You know, what else do you have in this world if you don't have your health? And that's one of the things I'm real tough on my daughter with that is, trying to make sure she's getting the good foods in there. And I sent Felicia a text the other day after Braylon and I enjoyed some awesome chicken that she had prepared, like an orange-type chicken, sesame chicken with bok choy in it, and it was great. And I said, I just sent her a quick text, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And she said, I love it when kids eat our food. It's so great. What else do you have if you don't have your health?
That's true. Hey, listen, I feel great now that I've started eating healthy. I got some clean stuff going in, and
nice.
Yeah, I don't even need coffee in the morning anymore.
That's
I'm
awesome.
up at 5:30, just hitting it.
That's
it's awesome,
dude. Good job, bro. Good job.
I gotta follow that. I live on coffee.
You pounding the adrenal gland all day long, right? Just boom, come on, stay with me. Yeah, absolutely. That's great, man. I love it. I got a couple of hot listings I want to let you know about too. I've got a 27-acre ranch, which I cannot believe has not been sold yet. I mean, 27-acre ranch just south of the Citrus Park Mall in Tampa. I mean, it's in the heart of Hillsborough County in Tampa. 27.5 acres. Mostly high and dry, and a great opportunity for you to invest, build, develop. This is a great opportunity on Gardner Road, 7539 Gardner Road. Reach out if you'd like more information about this one. And I also have another 84-acre parcel of land. This one's $1.79 million, 84 acres. 2606 North Valrico Road in Seffner. $1.79 million. Awesome plan development already in place just off of Valrico Road and convenient location I-75 and I-4. So check it out, consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region that we've assembled, we've vetted, and we bring on the air to help you win. So let's go ahead and bring Curt Lorden into the conversation, branch manager, InterLinc Mortgage. What are you seeing out there, sir?
Well, the Fed spoke. Again, fun stuff. Yes, everything's pretty much the same with one little caveat. They are going to, raise interest rates throughout the year. Okay. It seems to be that they've agreed on it's going to be slow and gradual.
Right.
The one thing that could really throw a wrench in this whole entire situation with rates is their reinvestment strategy. They want to clear their balance sheet. So they are either going to gradually stop buying mortgage-backed securities, mortgage bonds, or they're going to immediately stop it all at one time. That's the big debate going on right now within the Fed.
So, Curt.
Yep.
Okay, I'm a listener. You're talking like Janet Yellen right now. Can you break it down for me?
Oh, I was just about to. So what that means is, interest rates are driven by what's called mortgage bonds or mortgage-backed securities. If bond prices drop, rates go up. If bond prices go up, rates come down. Right now, the Fed is buying up a tremendous amount of these, which is creating almost like a false level of inflation on them. If they stop buying them, it's going to create an oversupply of bonds, which means that rates will go up. Now, depending on which direction they go, if it's gradual or if it's immediate, rates will either continue to slowly go up or we'll see a massive spike. We'll know more when they speak the next time because it's a huge debate going back and forth. And the reality is, that sucks for mortgage rates, but they're still low. But it's a great sign of what our economy is doing and how fast we're growing with wage growth and strengthening the economy, which is good for the housing market anyway. Because the more money people make, the better the house that they can buy, or actually buy a house in general if they don't have one. So it's not the end of the world. Well, it's actually a good sign.
Well, here's what I'd comment on that as well with Money Master of the Game, Tony Robbins, as you know, my number one mentor and business mastery graduate. In his recent book, Unshakable, he talks about as well how we are in unprecedented times. We still have – this is a time where on planet Earth here, we've got 10 first-class first world countries, including Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, some major players. I think there's a few other in that specific area that are at negative interest rates. So for the first time ever, you have to pay money to have the bank hold your money for you. and they're paying people to borrow money. So think about that. You think about that from a global perspective, how that influences, and so all these Federal Reserve, each country is going to have their central Fed, and so they're in a position of, okay, they're trying all these different unique strategies to try to that have never been tried before. How do we normalize our economy? So I think everyone looks to the United States as a leader. As the United States goes, so the world goes in general. You think about the economy size. Of course, you got China and Russia, two other giants, but for the most part, I think the Fed's done a pretty good job of keeping some relative normalcy.
Well, yeah, I mean, finally she's getting involved in making rational decisions. Before, she was just kind of a sit and wait. I don't really know what's going on, although all, economic indicators pointed that she should have raised rates, almost a year ago. And she kept them low. Now, I'm not in the Fed meeting, so maybe there was a rational reason that no one divulged to the mortgage maverick.
I would say there's 100% rational reason. These people are very, very, very smart people.
Yeah.
And I do agree with Brandon. I mean, in all reality, okay, our Feds manage our economy to out of recession harmoniously, regardless what anybody says about we lend money and did all that stuff. I'm sorry, they did it harmoniously.
Well, here's something that's interesting is Tony Robbins. He also has his group of insiders, friends, and business partners that meet with him once a year, 4 times a year, I believe. It's called Platinum Partners. I've got a couple friends who are in that partnership with him. It's something like $100,000 a year too to be a part of it. But what he does is he says he was at his meeting. He's at their meeting, and he and Alan Greenspan were sitting on the stage, and they were interviewing, and he said, Alan, here's a guy who I think he came from the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations, 3 or 4 sitting presidents. He says, Alan, what would you do if you were in the position of the Fed chair now? What would be something that you would do? What would be your first strategy? He said, Tony, if that were the case, I would resign.
It's definitely not an easy job.
Yeah. No. And it really, you think about, too, the inception of the Fed. Really, the Federal Reserve is not a government entity. People think it is.
No.
And really, a lot of people say we don't need the Fed. Why do we have a Fed? We don't need the Fed. It's basically a group of insiders out of Washington and lobbyists in that whole Eastern Seaboard there, or across from the nation.
Could I mention something about that when people say this? Like, okay, there's people that always are great sideline coaches, right? We know that one, right? And
Monday quarterbacks.
Yeah,
exactly. They always know the game after the game have happened. It's in reality, you don't know you don't need something until you need it, right? So we are the greatest economy in the world. We're the greatest country in the world, but yet we want to throw stones at every administration we have by saying we don't need any of the stuff you're doing.
I hate
well,
that.
how the heck would you know that?
I hate that. That's something I wrote a LinkedIn article about. It is that a much needed return to respect. Hey, let's face it. Whatever side. First of all, how do you take 300 million people, put them on either a left or a right? And then you have the water cooler talk. Oh, Obama was the worst president ever, and Trump's the worst president ever, and Bush was the worst president ever. Okay, these guys were at the point where they were leading our country. At minimum, let's just have some respect back in politics. Let's have respect back in the water cooler talk. As much as you may not agree with the policy, you can't say the person's the worst person ever, and he does this, she does that, and you know what I mean?
Well, we forget that we're not really, the president of the U.S. or our government is not to govern one person's interest. It's to govern 300 million people's interest and 7.1 billion people market, basically. So when we say that and we criticize our government, it's just a personal, I would say, selfish level when we say, well, that decision doesn't meet my immediate need at this time, so therefore they're absolutely wrong. And that's not really the case. I mean, come on, we still are the best country on the planet, and I don't understand how much more do we want?
Yeah, or party lines, because you think about the party lines, you get in, and we're going into politics, we don't do that on this show, but, it's not necessarily everything that one side agrees with is going to be agreeable by the other, and then there's going to be give and take. It reminds me when I had Bob Buckhorn on the show, I had Mayor Creticus on the show, and I asked specifically, hey, what have you seen happen over the area of politics over the last 20, 30 years? Because I think Mr. Creticus was working with Bill Young a lot back in the day, and they talked about how they helped save MacDill Air Force Base. It was going to be pushed out of the area. They were going to redistribute. They were going to do it. And he said, you know what, Brandon? He said the big thing was, I think it was Tip O'Neill was in the House or the Senate, they said, we used to at least have respect. We would have respect, even though we disagree with the opinion. It was the gentleman from the state of this. That's what we need more of, not only in politics but also just general life.
I was privy to that.
Yeah.
They did not disagree for the disagreement's sake. It wasn't about the argument for them. They disagreed on the subject, they disagree on the content,
right.
But they still have the respect for each other and looking at the results. What are they trying to accomplish? They may have argued, but not for the argument's sake.
And an argument's great. It's great to argue because you're getting the facts out. You're looking at different perspectives. And let's continue this when we come back. When we come back on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about some of the things happening. We'll continue this line of thought. We'll talk about where the real estate space is going, what we see as emerging trends and things happening here, specifically in Tampa Bay. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley, celebrity TV fitness host and creator of The Spin Gym. I'm here today with Brandon Rhymes, and you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Great ways to get happy, healthy, and wealthy.
Don't forget, Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Visit realestateradiotampa.com or text the word VALUED to their consumer advocacy hotline at 813-917-1894. Call Brandon today, 813-917-1894.
Thanks for sticking with us here. Brandon Rhymes, Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty, also a published author and a professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon. We want to help you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. Become the MVP in your industry by surfing the radio waves. We're going to teach you how to start a radio show, TV show, or even a podcast. If you want to simplify the version, make it a podcast. So right here on iHeartRadio, we're helping you win. Brandon Rhymes here in studio. We got Abraham Moussa, Total Title Solutions. We got Curt Lorden, Branch Manager, InterLinc Mortgage. And also we're back here. We're going to help you win. So let's go ahead back into this. This is a great conversation. Continue to trend. So we're talking about just a return to respect in general in our society. I think a lot of times what happened is, especially coming out around '96. I was at a high school. I played football on the inaugural team at '96, and then 2000s. The old Y2K. I think what happens a lot of times, just in general speaking, is that people get a lot tougher when they're behind a keyboard. They get a lot tougher when they're behind emails. You know what I mean? And that's in the society. 17 years later, from 2010. Or from 2000, that's just evolved even more. So, that's one of our goals of the show is to help people. We want to help people understand and avoid commission-based advice and learn how to be respectful and love one another again. And so the politics side we talked about somewhat, but yeah, where do you see that going, Curt?
Well, it's funny when you said the statement, the gentleman from the state of it reminded me of that movie Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. Yeah. He had like the last name Jefferson and put himself on the ballot and won. It was awesome. That's one of the funniest political movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. You're right about the whole, respect. And it really also boils down to education. I mean, when you guys, you start researching about the history of America and the history of politics going back to day one, it really kind of peels that onion back and you understand kind of what goes on, in the Senate, in Congress, all of that. And you respect the people that are willing to stand up and say, you know what, I'm going to run for leadership of this country to lead the greatest nation in the world. But if we want to kind of shift back to real estate, since that's kind of what we're here to talk about,
let's do that.
Let's do that. Let's shift gears a little bit. We're talking about trends, and the sales center for that new condo development down in Channelside is now open. Okay. They have 71% of their units are already reserved, including the $5 million penthouse.
Wow.
Which will then at that point go down in history as the most expensive condo in Tampa Bay history.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that's exciting, and we're seeing on a lending side a lot of the condo guidelines starting to loosen a little bit.
Yep.
And that's going to be one of the next trends, and it follows normal suit like it did back in the mid 2000s, single family, then townhomes, now condos.
Yep.
The one caveat though is that we're not practicing frivolous lending practices, so we're not going to really go into the same problem that we ran into in 2007 when the market crashed. Yeah. The market crashed, guys, because of pay option arms, aggressive adjustable rate loans where people that adjusted and they couldn't afford their payment.
Yep.
So now that those are gone, right, exactly. Yep. So that's gone, guys. So regardless if home prices continue to increase at the present rate, or even if it gets a little bit more aggressive, it's still a solid market because you're not treating your house as an ATM. You can make your house bubble proof. Just be intelligent when, with your buying practices.
And especially even here in the greatest city on the planet.
It is.
In Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater. You think about the Tri-City. I mean, there's so much to do. You look at the absence of a state income tax, the ability to insure your asset. Now, one thing that is on the horizon is with the national, the NAFP, the flood insurance program. That's something that we want to talk about here as well. What do you think in that space, Abraham?
I agree with Curt 100% that the bubble that everybody keep talking about and they're scaring people off. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon or ever, probably. But I have different take on the market. So I'm looking for a commercial office space in the Trinity / Newport Richie area.
Yep.
And I can tell you, I cannot find anything affordable at this time. I mean, the market is so skyrocketed that I can't find anything affordable.
Right.
And it's so short in demand. Like there's no new buildings being built or anything like that. But yet other markets still, the office space is still a little bit depressed, except in that area over there. I mean,
really?
The commercial market is up. They're asking a few $100 per.
What about buying like a vacant land and just putting up your own office?
That's the option we are looking at right now. Truly, that is the option.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best option, especially you look at what some of these developers do. They'll go out in there and they'll put those red iron buildings up. They'll drop a ceiling down and they'll have 5 of them each side. Man, that's a smart move. That's a smart money move.
I talked to a developer that acquired a space on Mitchell Road, and he has in the back residential, which is they're going to build townhomes as well in the back. And I talked him into building a small strip center and begin like an office center on the frontage on the road. Yes. I mean, it's really hot. The market is hot all over the place. I didn't think the office market will be that much in demand.
So. Yeah, I know very little about commercial because I'm solely residential, but that's an interesting tidbit of information in regards to that.
Yeah, going back to the downtown, you look at Tampa, downtown Tampa now. Now we're, with Buckhorn and even previous mayors, even going back to forgot her name there, but the previous mayor,
Pam Ario.
Mayor Iorio. So she, that was in process. So a lot of times, whenever a previous administration is making the moves, they're setting the framework, and now Buckhorn's back in. He's reelected. Boom. Now, so you see downtown Tampa thriving. You see a lot of the Microsoft money, Bill Gates, Venick, happening downtown, and then of course St. Petersburg, the downtown there has been huge.
It's out of control.
Yeah, and then Clearwater Beach. I mean, there's a lot of construction, a lot of things happening. So the job market is super strong in Tampa Bay, construction jobs. Now, when I have the mayors on as well, they talk about the need and the ability to attract the millennials, especially the engineering, the different science, technology, engineering, math, those types of folks. That's the type of industry, jobs that we want to attract as well, higher paying jobs.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about millennials. Well, I mean, St. Pete's on the map is one of the top place for millennials to move. But there was an article on MSN that had like the top best places for millennials to move and buy a house. There was 4 in Ohio. I think it was Akron, Toledo, Pittsburgh was on there, and everything was up north. I'm like, why would a millennial want to move up north?
Ohio.
Yeah,
and especially in Ohio. I'm from Ohio, so I have every right to talk trash about Ohio. Love the state, love the Buckeyes, but it's nothing but gray and construction in winter. So it was just odd, and I think it was based on the affordability. But then you look at the job markets there, and that doesn't really correlate. I mean, my hometown is like 15 minutes outside of Akron, and there is nothing there.
But I'll tell you what it's based on. If you research that article, who wrote the article, they've got companies based in Columbus,
Probably.
Ohio. That's most of the United States. If you look at Columbus, right? You've heard this before, Curt, right?
Oh yeah.
Columbus that's the central hub. They say it's very much like the demos of the United States. So a lot of the big companies. That's why I think a lot of times the Ohio State gets a little favorable stuff in football.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well, I have a theory. I have a theory that they say Ohio is like the heartland of America, the heartbeat of whatever is on their license plate. I have a theory that Ohio literally is the center of the universe. That it's almost like the 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Almost every historical event can be traced back to Ohio, inclusive of the person who invented the turning.
That's a cult. Man. That's not
what are we talking about here?
That's so cultish at that moment. It's like I can't even rent that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun though. We're having fun.
I'm glad you believe so hard in that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Back to the economy here in Tampa Bay. I mean, we see a lot of things happening. We see the prosperity generating, success. It's there. You look at a lot of the effects happening in Tampa City, and then all the way down the Gulf Coast. So I think a lot of times we get compared to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, that whole space, and we know that side is a lot more congested.
Yeah.
There's a lot of negatives over there. We see a potential for a boom, or not a boom, but a crash in the condo markets and some of the different markets in the Miami space, just because of overbuilding.
Right, and they don't really have an economy. It's all touristy, really. We legitimately have big companies coming in.
There was some data the other day. We have 1,000 people moving to the state of Florida every day.
Right.
Really?
1,000 people a day.
Yeah, that's
economy
awesome.
or otherwise, we still got a lot of new people.
Right.
It's like an MLM kind of thing going on. But there is one caveat to how great Tampa Bay is, and what will make us really perfect is that nobody's talking about it. I know Mayor Buckhorn and everybody else has been trying to, is mass transit.
Mass transit. Yeah.
If we can get something anything,
Well,
we would be perfect.
What I've heard and gathered in talking with different people is that the last time that the rail from Orlando to Tampa was proposed, the problem was a lot of times a business is the first deal is not the best deal, right? So what happened is the way that it was structured from DC, they were going to have a lot of control, and if it failed, Florida businessmen, taxpayers had to kick in the money, much like I heard the aquarium downtown. Like the aquarium was such a major project, it ended up. So what happens is when they have these big ideas, these big transit ideas, everybody's like, "Yeah, it sounds great. We would love to jump on a train, go to a Magic basketball game, come back the next day or that same night, and not have to worry about driving." But the underlying and what they often talk about is the unintended consequences is 4 or 5 years down the line when the federal funding runs out. Now the local taxpayers are funding the bill for that.
Yeah.
So
what a privilege, though. I have no disagreement with that. I've always disagreed the fact we shut that project down. It's a privilege to do so in beside with the government. We're supposed to plan for 100 years from now. So I thought there was a mistake that we turned that project
Could be
down.
cool, but we need to get it back on the books and let's structure it properly. I guess, there's going to be a different negotiation next time. But I agree. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be cool to be able to shoot to Miami right from there, too. One last segment coming up for your Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
Don't forget, Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Visit realestateradiotampa.com or text the word VALUE to their consumer advocacy hotline at 813-917-1894. Call Brandon today, 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Quarterback Show. Big shout out to our security partner, Source One Solutions. Robert Hessel and his team are awesome in the areas of home and office security, utilizing Honeywell technology to protect your home, your office, your business. Source One Solutions, the official security partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, as well as a big shout out to Hannah and her team over at Smart Move Moving and Storage, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hannah and her team do awesome local moves, and they can help you win in the moving space. Big shout out to Smart Move Moving and Storage. And we're back here in studio live from iHeartRadio, South Tampa, helping you win. Curt Lorden, branch manager, InterLinc Mortgage Services, as well as Abraham Moussa. He's the president of Total Title Solutions. So what else are you seeing out there, Curt?
Well, when we did the introductions, I was talking about the little nugget of information that kind of piqued my interest when I read it. And right now, the average mortgage balance is the highest it's ever been.
Okay.
What does that mean to us?
Well, that means basically what we're borrowing much, much more than what we were before. So the average debt that people are taking out for a home is the highest it's ever been. And what we're seeing is the large down payments are a thing of the past. 20% down is basically a dinosaur at this juncture. What we're seeing is the average down payment for a house is about 10% for someone who's purchased homes in the past. And it's 6% down payment for our first-time home buyers.
What about the MPI?
The mortgage insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna be required to carry it on an FHA. On a conventional, there are high loan to value with no mortgage insurance programs out there depending on your credit. And a lot of this is a byproduct of the fact that rates were so low.
That's not required. So you're telling me if I have good credit and I go with my bank and I only put 10% down on my mortgage, they should be able to waive my...
Yep, it's called lender-paid mortgage insurance. You can do it as little as 3% down with no mortgage insurance.
This is a great tidbit you just gave me. I'm going to argue with my bank today. That's good.
Well, that's your problem by going to your bank. You should be coming to the Maverick, my man.
Well, and you think about also the way you structure deals. Back to Abe's point earlier, is trying to do it on your own is for sale by owners. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get creative when you structure the deal. And I like to talk about seller concessions. There's also down payment assistance programs where a savvy agent's going to be able to help the buyer and also the seller structure a deal properly to close quickly and to be able to help that. You see a lot of seller concessions.
Not only I'm seeing a lot of sellers concessions, we're seeing lenders concessions as well.
Oh yeah, yep.
There is a portion of the lenders that paying sometimes 100% of the fees, and that's making the deal happen. But the seller's concession, with the help of the professionals, whether it's your lender or your realtors, you can really put your buyer in a house that otherwise would not have been able to afford or understand.
Yep.
And it works well.
Let me ask you this: going back to the seller concessions there. When you do the seller concessions and you're putting that on and the lender paid back, that was my point. The lender paid. Aren't they, Curt? What they're doing is they're jacking up the rate though to be able to give those concessions.
I wouldn't use the word jacking up the rate. Yes, the rates are higher because your interest rate is predicated on risk.
Okay.
So a higher loan to value loan, 97%. We'll do simple math. If you buy a $100,000 house, you're putting $3,000 down.
Right.
The only protection the lender has is either mortgage insurance or a higher interest rate, because most mortgage defaults happen within the first 5 years of owning a home, because you have that initial payment shock of going from an 800 square foot apartment to a home.
Right.
So yeah, so there's gonna be some give and takes, and like I've said 1,000 times, there's no such thing as a perfect mortgage. Yeah. It's finding the perfect mortgage for you to fit your needs. And I'm a huge advocate of seller concessions, and I'm also a huge advocate of the buyer picking title companies versus letting the seller, because that's not a rule, Radioland. Whoever can pick the title company. It's not a written rule. And from a lender's perspective, with the CFPB's rules, I'm now on the hook for everything. So I want to work with a title company that I trust.
Well, we've seen a lot of that, by the way.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of that coming our way, to where they say this title company is not approved with the lender, the seller have chosen, and the buyer is choosing that title company.
And we always get asked the question, well, then the buyer has to pay for the title. No, everything's mandated by the state. Your fees don't change. The only thing that's really negotiable really is kind of the closing fee. Am I correct?
Yes. The other stuff is promulgated rate.
Yeah. Right.
But back to a lender's concession and a bit of a higher rate, Brandon. So if the lender is going to jack up your interest rate 25 basis points or 50 basis points, but also that's going to put you in a house while they're paying your thing, you're talking about $25, $30 difference.
Not much.
To put you in that. And the other thing I'd like to tell every buyer that ever buys, okay, eventually your income will rise. No matter how, your income will rise or your expenses will go down. And the first 1, 2, 3 years, you may be like strapped, but after that, it's a go. So please buy and buy now. And back to the interest rate, it's not going to be that low for much longer. Maybe another year, but not forever.
No, when you put math on it, for every half a point interest rate it increases, it's $29 for every $100,000 you borrow. So if it's a $200,000 house and the rates increased by a half, but saves you $8,000, your payment's going up $58 a month.
How about reverse that? How about you can buy a bigger and better house while the interest rate is low right now?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, when it goes higher, you're going to have to buy a lesser house.
Right. And as homes continue to appreciate, that window is rapidly closing for your desired area for whomever you may be out there in Radio Land looking for a house.
Very good.
All right, here we go. Let's have some fun here. We're going to talk about the top 10 languages spoken worldwide.
Good. Can I guess?
So 7.3 billion or so people on planet
Abe
Earth.
must know all these because he's itching to
No,
answer.
I don't. I just want to see how
All right.
good.
So Abe, you're up first. Top 10 languages.
I'm going to say English first.
English. Sorry, buddy.
Seriously?
No.
Okay, then I am no way in hell I can guess the rest.
Kurt?
Mandarin Chinese.
Yes.
You got it.
Mandarin there. Number 2 was
Would be
English.
English.
Yes. Number 2 is English. Kurt?
Italian.
Not on the list. Italian not on the list.
I said that, and I was called something else. Spanish.
Hindu's number 3 is Hindustani.
Oh yeah, I guess it would all be in the Indonesia, the Asian
Okay, so we're talking
area.
about based on population.
Let's go back to 1, 2, 3. We just did 1, 2, 3. Mandarin, 1 billion plus people speak Mandarin. Number 2, English, 508 million. And then number 3, Hindustani, is 497 million. And to say hello in Hindustani, you say namaste. So for all the yogis out there, there's your namaste. All right, number 4. I'm looking for number 4. Somebody said it. Spanish, number 4. Let's see. 392 million people in the world speak Spanish.
So there is a misconception of this.
Hola is this hello.
Popular language versus the most spoken language. I was assuming that was my mistake.
Oh, now he's backtracking. Now he's backtracking.
Abe's making up his own rules as he goes.
All right, number 5.
Portuguese.
It's on the list. It's number 8, but number 5 is actually Russian. There's 277 million Russian speakers. And to say hello in Russian, you say Zdravstvuyte Vetya. Anyways, that's a tough one. All right, so number six. Anybody want to know what
Arabic?
number 6 is? Arabic, exactly. Yeah, $246 million.
There you go.
246 million. All right, number 7. Somebody tell me what that one is.
From Thailand.
Bengali. 211 million. To say hello in Bengali, you say EJ.
Is that the Thailand language?
All right, number 8, Portuguese, which is actually some of my family background there. My father's side was 191 million speaking Portuguese. And to say hello in Portuguese, you say bon dia. Bon dia. All right, number 9, Malay, Indonesian, 159 speakers. And number 10, rounding it out, is our friends over in France. French speaking, 129 million.
Yeah.
And to say hello in French.
You just dropped some knowledge on us today, B. I like it.
Yeah, that was a good one. Anthony did awesome on that one. That's really cool. That was a lot of fun.
fun.
So the speaking languages here. So let's go ahead and enter our lightning round. A couple minutes left. So quick tips, things to do, things to avoid. Abraham Moussa, Total Title Solutions.
So all that stuff we just talked about, not enough tips?
Yeah, that was good. That's really good tips.
Just one real big lightning round.
Just buy now. I always say that. Just please buy now. Hire a professional. Here's Curt on the radio. He's going to save you the MPI or the MIP, whatever that acronym is. And go on and get it now.
Get it. Kurt?
Yeah, I mean, pull the trigger, guys. It's not going to get any more of a ripe environment with the right priced home and rates where they're at. I mean, there's really no downfall to owning a home. Just plain and simple.
And that's, sometimes I've had Grant Cardone on the show. People that know the real estate industry or sales, they know of Grant Cardone. And that's one thing that I disagree with him on, is he kind of said that on my show, is that, people buying a home, that's been, people perpetuate that in the media. They shouldn't be buying a home. And I kind of think about it. I'm like, man, here you are. You own $600 million worth of real estate. And you're telling people not to buy a home.
Because he wants more for himself.
Maybe that's what he's doing. Who knows? That's a good idea. But no, I love Grant. He's awesome. And, a lot of our expert contributors, all the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay. Thanks to our listeners out there. We really appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you had some fun today with us here. Abraham Moussa, President of Total Title Solutions. Curt Lorden, the Mortgage Maverick here, Branch Manager, InterLinc Mortgage Services here in Tampa Bay. And we want you to go out there and please consider committing a random act of kindness. Be a force for good in the community. Help others in need. Volunteer. Give time. And also maybe something as simple as packing up leftover food you have in your food or your fridge or your pantry, taking it to you from your commute to work, and handing it to that person that you see in need. Thanks so much for being a force for good out there and tuning into the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show right here on iHeartRadio. And please check out realestateradiotampa.com to buy or sell real estate and see all of his expert contributors. Thank you.
Don't forget, Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Visit realestateradiotampa.com or text the word VALUE to their consumer advocacy hotline at 813-917-1894. Call Brandon today, 813-917-1894.